forget to like and subscribe.
And hit the notification bell
so we can go to college and get more knowledge.
Welcome back to the CBDC Assets Group. Today we're going to be talking about creeps. Hate to be the one to break it to you, but I just have to let you know what's inside my mind. I'm talking about people all in your business when they don't need to be. This is a wild-ass video. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's a couple clips that I really want you to see. And don't worry, I'll be watching.
Well, two things. Number one, it will be decided in October. So we are preparing the ground. We want to be ready. We want to be trained, but it will not be decided until October 23. Mm-hmm. The reason I'm personally convinced that we have to move ahead is a situation like the one we are in now. We are dependent on the supply of gas by a very unfriendly country. I don't want Europe to be dependent on an unfriendly country's currency. For instance, I don't know, the Chinese currency, the Russian currency, the whatever. Or dependent on a friendly currency, but which is activated by a private corporate entity like, Facebook or like Google or anybody like that.
I'm user of Bitcoin too, so I had bought it when it started, and I hope that it also will work through the special system. And I know there are many protests in Europe against the electronic euro. What is the reason?
It's the beauty of Europe. It has different positions. If you ask in Northern Europe, for instance, in the Netherlands, they're quite happy to see the e-euro coming. If you ask a young German man, he'll say, yeah, fine. As I said, I don't want Meta, Google, or Amazon to suddenly come up with a currency that will take over the sovereignty of Europe. I don't want a foreign currency to become the currency of trading within Europe. So we have to be ready.
No, the problem is they don't want to be controlled. They don't want to...
Yeah, but you know what? Now we have in Europe this threshold. Above 1,000 euros, you cannot pay cash. If you do, you are on the grey market. So you take your risk. You get caught, you are fined, or you go in jail. But, the digital euro is going to have a limited amount of control. There will be control, you're right. You're completely right. We are considering whether for very small amounts, anything that is around 300, 400 euros, we could have a mechanism where there is zero control. But that could be dangerous. The terrorist attacks on France back 10 years ago were entirely financed by those very small anonymous credit cards that you can recharge in total anonymity.
The question is now I think that it's a joke, like a joke, that the next currency will be firewoods for Europe.
Will be what?
Firewoods. To hit the
Yeah.
So it's like a joke. It's like a joke from Russian side.
Well, they can get lost.
Ha!
And my question is, do you think that the policy of previous authorities with the IMF, Poroshenko, led to a crisis? Because I got many terrible situation in economics when I became a president. So because he probably has stole some loans for Ukraine for his interests, and we forced it to raise the pensions and tariffs for a long time, and it led to the critical situation, and Russia used it.
You know, I think, first of all, I think the IMF did the best that it could do to help and support Ukraine. You know as well as I do that the country was not in perfect shape. You know as well as I do that there were some very strange characters who abused the situation, who had their own militias, who had their own system that certainly took advantage of what was tried both by the IMF, by the United States, in order to help Ukraine. But, you know, you cannot rewrite history. And I think that at the time, the loan by the IMF, the program that was initiated, was necessary, and had it not happened, would have been devastating for Ukraine. So was it 100% well implemented? Certainly not.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you very much. I'm really
Thank
happy
you
to
to
talk
you.
to you. Thank you. Have
Same
a great
here.
day with your colleagues.
You too.
I think this is the biggest bait and switch that Washington, the central government, has ever tried to pull on us. Everybody thinks that they're just trying to ban TikTok from operating in the U.S. And if that's all they did, then I think the bill would be supported by most Americans. But that's not what they're doing. They're not restricting TikTok. They're restricting us.
That's not the goal here. Yeah. What a bait and switch.
It's a huge bait and switch. And so just so you know, what the act provides is that a U.S. citizen using a VPN to access TikTok could theoretically be subjected to a maximum penalty of $1 million in fines or 20 years in prison or both. Now, you know, they'll say, you know, Mark Warner, the sponsor of the legislation, will swear up and down that's not the intent. But the problem is that the language of the bill is so vague that some clever prosecutor may want to pursue this theory one day, and that needs to be stopped. Also, there's another problem with the bill, which is you think this is just about TikTok. It's not. What they do is, it says here, I guess they don't want to mention TikTok by name, so they're trying to create a category of threatening application. But because it is a category, it's very, very broad. So the bill states that it covers any transaction, not just an app, in which an entity described in subparagraph B has any interest. And then entities described in subparagraph B are, quote, a foreign adversary, an entity subject to the jurisdiction of or organized under the laws of a foreign adversary, an entity owned, directed, or controlled by either of these. And then it gives the executive branch the power to name a foreign adversary, any foreign government regime that one of the cabinet secretaries defines without any vote of Congress. So this is giving sweeping powers to the executive branch to declare, you know, foreign companies to be enemies.
This feels like the plot of the prequels in Star Wars.
Well,
Emergency
like
powers.
said,
Here we go.
we criticize China for having a great firewall. What do you think this is?
Yeah, I mean, this should obviously have nothing to do with the American consumer and everything to do with a foreign adversary collecting data of Americans at scale. This could be written in a much simpler way.
Yeah, you know what it should be?
Right.
It should be one sentence, which is that app stores are prohibited from allowing TikTok to be an app in their store. That's what they do in India. That's it.
Yeah.
Case closed.
Yeah.
Game over.
I think
That's all you
India's
gotta
doing
do.
okay, right? They block like 100 Chinese apps, and I think their society's still functioning. So, you know, all due respect to AOC, you know, like the idea that 150 million Americans are going to suffer because they can't be tracked by the CCP is kind of nuts.
This is going to give sweeping powers to the security state to surveil us, to prosecute us, to limit our internet
Anti-American.
usage. This is basically the biggest power grab and bait and switch they've ever tried to pull on us. And again, if they really were concerned about TikTok, it's one